Hello and thanks for tuning in. My name is Brad Micklin. I'm the attorney and managing member of the Micklin Law Group, which is a law firm concentrated in men's and fathers' rights in divorce, custody, and family law issues, with offices in Nutley, Montclair, New Jersey. Today is Tuesday, September 1st, 2020. This is, as I said, in New Jersey, so the tip I'm about to give is limited, obviously, to New Jersey law and to this current date. So if you're watching this at any other time, please just make sure that it, one, applies in the time that you're watching it if it's later, and two, if it's in another jurisdiction, that the law is not different where you are. I do try to make my tips general so that they do kind of go across state lines, but you can never be sure, so it's always good to check. I'm also the proud author of the best-selling book, How to Survive and Thrive When Divorcing a Narcissist. If you or anyone you know may be dealing with these issues, you can find this book on Amazon.com in both a Kindle and a paperback version. Today is part of my ongoing series where I address special legal issues addressing men and fathers during the COVID-19 quarantine. The overall purpose both of my practice as well as these tips is to empower men through a process that I believe historically ignored them, and while the laws have changed significantly, I think a lot of attitudes have not, so we're working to make that different. Today's tip is what's going to happen after the quarantine is lifted, specifically with regard to divorce and family law cases. Obviously, nobody has a crystal ball. What I'm going to do is explain where the court is and where I think it's going to go in the short term. So right now, the court's in the middle of a 4-phase plan to reintroduce in-court appearances. Right now, phase 2 is there are very limited court appearances. There's a limited amount of staff, both judges and other staff, working in court buildings. The remainder and the majority are working remotely, and the remainder and majority of hearings are being done remotely. So normally if you have a hearing now, you're going to appear by either Microsoft Teams, Zoom, or sometimes by the telephone. They also have electronic filing and no contact drop-off for mail. So right now, I actually like the way the court's running. I think it's much more efficient than it has been in decades, and I think it helps because not having to go into court actually significantly reduces legal fees, at least in family law and divorce matters that I handle. We're not going to know for a while how the courts are going to handle the return to a pre-quarantine sort of court appearances. I think first there's beliefs that the third and fourth phase are going to be very slow to come. I think a lot of people are going to be hesitant to go back in the courts that quickly, even when the quarantine is lifted, absent a vaccination or some kind of cure. So I think a lot of things are going to happen when we do return. I think first, there's going to be a backlog of cases. The courts made a lot of changes, like the rest of us, overnight, unexpectedly, and very quickly. And while they did a pretty good job instituting these, it did delay a lot of cases. It's caused a significant backlog. And even over the last several months, I haven't really seen it picking up to where they're moving through cases faster. So I don't think they're really addressing the backlog that I believe is building up. I do also believe there's going to be more filings once the quarantine is lifted. I think partly people are living under very stressful circumstances, but they haven't necessarily taken steps to go forward. I also think and hope that the economy is going to come back stronger and people will be in a better financial situation to move forward and take steps to remedy the life circumstances that may be unfavorable, but they couldn't afford to during the quarantine. I do believe a lot of the changes that the court has instituted will continue. I think the video conferencing, which is a tremendous thing, I think that will continue, although I don't think they're going to continue doing it for trials and significant hearings, but I think at a minimal, case management, scheduling conferences, possibly settlement conferences, anything that's less than significant can probably and should be done by video conferencing. I have to assume they'll continue with electronic filing. I don't know why they didn't do this 20 years ago, but there'd be no reason to return to paper filing. It's faster, it's cheaper, and it's better for the court system and the world overall because it's saving a ton of paper. I think the backlog that developed is going to be a short-term problem that will eventually get remedied. Even with the increased filing that I think is going to come, I think the long-term effect is still going to be that the courts are going to be more effective and more efficient. The video conferencing, electronic filing is going to more than make up for any potential backlog or delay or even excessive filings that we see in the future. So that's my crystal ball. I'm generally an optimistic person. I think things will get better. I don't think that they're so bad now, but I think there's room for an improvement. I think as we adjust to the quarantine and once it's lifted, I think the courts for family law and divorce matters are going to run a lot more smoothly. With that, I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give a like and share it so that other people get to see it. If you subscribe, you'll get notifications when I go online and make these videos, and you can also message me with any topics you'd like me to cover. Thanks and stay safe. Feel free to contact me with any questions.